Welcome to No Question About That. We are going to review Fenerbahce 1, United 1 with Tom. How's it going?
Yeah, good, thank you. How are you?
Very good. Another Europa League game, another draw. Less chaos.
Yeah, it wasn't the usual excitement we've come to know from our chaotic European days, but it was chaotic enough. It was 1-1, but there was loads of stuff going on. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Jose getting sent off was a bit of chaos, just to add to the narrative. Yeah. I somehow convinced myself that we did a preview yesterday with Adam after the game, and somehow convinced myself both that it could be chaotic and also maybe both would go for a passive press and therefore it'd be a bit dull. And it was bits of both throughout the game.
Yeah,
really. Yeah, but that does make it 1 win in 7 for United. So, which isn't awesome, is it? No wins in the Europa League. Yeah,
it was also a super low quality game, which I guess you can kind of come to expect from a team which is just made up of Premier League rejects. Like,
but enough about Manchester United. What about
exactly.
Exactly.
Like their whole team, really. I mean, it must have been at least 6 or 7 players in that first team who played in the Premier League. Soyuncu, Saint-Maximin,
Fred, Amrabat.
Yeah, Ajayi, I think. Ajayi's English, but I don't know if he ever played in the actual Prem.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then just, like you say, Tadic. That's 6 off the bat. Just
Premier League rejects versus the Eredivisie rejects. Awesome. Great stuff.
That's true.
Fenerbahce now 23rd in the Europa League table, group phase table, as you call it, and United 21st. So it was a real relegation battle here. Top 24 go through. Well, 9th to 24 go into the playoff, and top 8 actually qualify. I mean, with the next 5 coming up, all very winnable for United, you'd think.
Yeah. I remember when we were previewing the Europa League for the extra show, we kind of looked at these first 3 games and thought, first one's reasonably easy, but the next 2 are difficult. And we had 3 draws. And is that good? I don't know. But if you kind of look at the table, we're like level on points with Elfsborg, level on points with Ferencvaros, level on points with Victoria Plzen. Like, is this what we've become? We're below Slavia Prague.
I mean, I would say from 22nd down to 36th, our annual revenue is probably greater than all of them put together. I'm making that one up, but it can't be that far off. We are above Manchester United 2, also known as OGC Nice.
Yeah, they lost to Ferencvaros today, which is not a great day for Ineos after the America's Cup loss yesterday.
I know. Oh, dearie me. So Jim must be absolutely steaming. He'll have to fire a bunch of people at United just to make himself feel better or something.
Former legend,
Yeah. It's interesting how, we'll get onto the details of the game, but it's interesting how the narrative has already turned against at least online. And not surprised about this, honestly, that people would start to blame the new partial owners for whatever's going on the pitch. I always think, there's plenty of reasons to criticise Sir Jim. I don't think he's a particularly nice bloke. I don't agree with his politics. I think his company's pretty awful and his business practices are shitty. And specific stuff around firing 250 people at United and stuff they've done with, say, the away ticket allocation for people who are going to European games and resource cuts in MUTV that has led to a blackout in some coverage of youth games and stuff like that. Like, it's not awesome, and the way they treat the women's team and so on and so on and so on. Lost criticizing for what's happening on the pitch right now. I think this the chaos in the United men's team setup well predates them, and to hire a technical director for direct football, CEO, new head of analytics, new physio, new head of recruitment, a whole bunch of appointments in this short space of time is pretty impressive. It's not translated into a turnaround on the pitch yet, though.
No, it's unlikely to, isn't it? Because what they are getting in place is basically fixing all the errors from the Glazer tenure, and it's stuff that we should see in 2 or 3 years' time. But it's just from the moment almost he walked in through the door, Ratcliffe, it's just been a PR disaster. Like, yeah, you've done these right things, and we've spoken about it. Like, thank God we're finally getting a football structure in place. We seem to have got the best in class or near to the best in class in, at least people, we've heard of, like with Jason Wilcox and Dan Ashworth. Like, whether or not they're the best men for the job, I don't know. Like, we don't know that, but hopefully they will be. But just like you say, all those things you list, they're just, there's stuff you don't do, I don't think, in the first year. You basically rub yourself up to the fans and like make yourself loved and nice, and then you start making the ruthless decisions. I think the way that he's gone about it, like very, very 1990s capitalist boss type agenda here, and just like,
I mean,
like
that's him,
say,
right?
It is.
Ex-private equity has turned into an expert in turning around failing companies.
Absolutely, but you kind of need to look at the lay of the land and look at who you're joining. You have to get the fans on side, and the way that he's just gone about everything, and some of the decisions there, you might say, yeah, that they are good decisions. Maybe we do need to reduce the bit. I wouldn't say that many of these decisions have been good, especially the way he talked about the women's team. It's been so dismissive of that. The way he's kind of dealt with the average employee, just dickhead behaviour type of thing. But some people might argue that he's done that well. And then even the Ferguson thing, like this split opinion in the fan base. I mean, £2 million off the wage budget for someone who isn't doing a lot. Yeah, you can see why, but it's just a PR disaster to when you've been doing so many like things that have basically rubbed people up the wrong way, and then you go and get rid of Ferguson. Like, it's the timing of everything. It's just stupid.
I know.
And
I think the presentation of it could have been so much better with all of this. I mean, if you took all the composite parts and like they all make rational, like they're all rational. United had 1,000 staff, which is way more, for example, than Manchester City. You know, like a third more than Manchester City. Was it bloated? I don't really know. I haven't been on the inside of that organisation looking at resourcing in particular areas and where it was all needed. I don't know, but they claim that they're going to be making 45 to 50 million pounds in savings from the next financial year. That's not nothing, as long as you don't spunk it on half an Anthony or something like that. The Ferguson thing, we talked about it before. It feels like a total nothing burger, this one. He's paid £2 million a year for doing some marketing activities, turning up to a few sponsor stuff. Like, he doesn't need the money. I mean, it's nothing in the grand order. United will do £700 million worth of turnover this year. £2 million, does it mean anything? They're just trying to make tiny financial or marginal gains there. Like, they could have got, like, if Fergie had put out a statement, unless he really is pissed off, but I doubt it, honestly. It didn't seem like it. His people were talking to the press, and if he'd put out a statement saying, hey, I'm stepping down from duties, I'm 82. I mean, like, even with the layoffs, like putting out a statement saying, and this costs nothing, like the cost of doing all the layoffs is about £10 million, right? So they are paying people redundancy. It sucks, really. I mean, anyone who's been through that, I have, right? Anyone who's been through that process, it really sucks. But even there, like, hey, we're helping them get jobs in football. These are the things we're doing. Like, there's so many easy PR wins they could have made. And the ticketing thing, of course, in terms of United's global fan base, this impacts a small, tiny number of people who regularly go to away games, and like people are already talking about how you can game this system now, but it's a small cost of sending one person or a couple of people to a Euro away game to make sure people securely get their tickets and have a good experience, right? All of this stuff kind of seems kind of petty, and you can see why it might rub some people up the wrong way. Of course, online, you had thousands, and in some cases, paid thousands of people and prominent people who are pushing for the Qataris to take over. And there's some some lasting impact of that, I think, as well.
Like you say, is that his presentation, his optics, and like going in expecting the same results from a business in inverted commas like Man United. Man United isn't a business like you would have ever experienced.
Not in any
before.
kind of normal way. No,
it's more like it's more like akin to politics in a way. Like you have to play the game. You have to play a political game because of you're basically whenever you speak, you're speaking to the populace. Like instead of a nation state, you're speaking to the United fan base, which could be about the size of China if what they say is true, 1 billion people. So therefore, you have to speak directly to them, and every action you speaks directly to them as well. And you say like these decisions might seem rational, but in the same way as politics, like you make, I don't know, like you to make the economy a percent better, you have to sell that message, and you have to make it emotional. And every decision that's kind of been so far has been an emotional decision, but in the wrong sense. And the Ferguson thing is exactly the same. Like you're making potentially a rational decision, saving £2 million for the football club, and also, like you say, he's not really doing anything particularly interesting. He's probably okay with it as well. But people are going to be pissed off about that, and you have to, like you say, you have to sell that message better. In the same way as you would if you were ahead of a political party. And therefore, I hope Jim Ratcliffe never goes into politics, because politics are bad enough anyway.
Well, we know, we know what his politics are. He's a Tory Brexiter. Maybe just run for the Conservative Party leadership, given that there's a couple of wrong ones doing it. All right, before I get a bunch of... to be honest, I don't think I've ever got a message off someone claiming to be a Tory. We've regularly bashed Tories on this show, and no one's ever complained about it. They don't like it when I get into American politics. It's very odd, that one. Although, talking about presentation, you can have the right politician, wrong bad candidate, right? That happens all the time in politics, and it's a good analogy to what United are doing. All right, on the pitch, some of the new signings had mixed performances tonight. Josh Zirkzee was basically a waste of space. I really hope it works for him. I mean, you got an assist, right? It's nice to lay off to Eriksen for United's goal. Then a couple of awful through balls trying to reach Marcus Rashford. I just don't know. 12 games, 1 goal now for him. On the other hand, Manuel Ugarte not had a lot of game time so far. I mean, goal-saving tackle after Onana managed to dive over one. So
good.
Incredible piece of defending. I don't remember the last time a United midfielder did that kind of thing.
Darren Fletcher against Arsenal when he got sent off.
Maybe. Unbelievable piece of defending. And another, he literally dived over that ball, and he really should just cut it out. But then not long after that, makes just a fantastic double save.
De Gea-esque.
Yeah, I love the video. I'm sure you've seen this. Jose.
Half time.
Giving him the eyes at half time. Yeah. The 2 incredible pieces of action in the first half, which was, first half was United like 30-something% possession, 2 shots on goal, but defended pretty sanely, I'd say. It was competent, wasn't it?
Yeah. And like on a different day, Ugarte doesn't make that challenge, and Onana doesn't pull off one of those 2 world-class saves, and it's 2-1 to them. Ugarte was interesting because on the ball, we spoke about when he signed his limitations and what we would get from him, and it was completely encapsulated in his performance today. He just doesn't want to receive the ball on the half turn. There was one moment really early, I think maybe 15 minutes into the game, where he received it and just played a blind ball around the corner instead of taking a touch. And he had maybe 5 yards on himself as well. And it's just his passing in general. It's just, I actually didn't think it would be this bad. And maybe because it's early days, like you say, he's not played for a couple of weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, actually. He didn't even come off the bench. His last game was against Tottenham, apart from the international break where he was with Uruguay. And maybe bedding into the team a little bit. But that passing, when it's been so bad, that is basic stuff. And that's kind of like, that's very much alarm bells ringing. But on the opposite side, and this is what we knew we were going to get for him, he was all over the place. He was like a rash. Like his ball recoveries are immense. Like he gets involved in the tackles and obviously made that incredible block. So we kind of knew what we were going to get. I just didn't think his passing would be that bad.
Definitely has to be better. Yeah.
Hopefully with a bit of coaching, it can improve. Like, why not? Like, surely he has that ability inside of him to improve that. And but like you said, Xerxes as well. It's not time to get worried, but it's frustrating because he's got a lot of intelligence there, and his passing at times is super awesome. His feet are super soft and silky at times as well. Like, you can see the raw ingredients are there, but like he's weighty in a good way. Like, he's strong, but he's slow, isn't he? Like, especially his acceleration is slow. You just think, is that going to translate well to the Premier League in a very quick league? And if we want to be a transition team, like, where does Xerxes fit into that?
I don't know. He's half of Harry Kane, isn't he? He's the nice,
and he can't really finish. Like, we've not seen like the finishing side of him.
Yeah,
it's really early days. Like, it's too early to make judgments. It's just with our signing so far, it's just been like Mazraoui. Obviously, will surely get to
maybe not number 10 most
the whole position. Mazraoui's been good, and I thought De Ligt was immense at times today as well. Like, I think De Ligt will be a great signing. I said this when we signed him. I think Mazraoui will be a good sign as well. Not playing the number 10. The Mazraoui thing was so weird. We've got two fit senior fullbacks at the moment, and you playing him number 10. Eriksen's playing in front of the back four instead of playing in who would be suited to a 10. Like, I thought Mazraoui did really, really well defensively today, but you were almost playing him like a defensive 10. Like, every time he got the ball in,
wasn't it?
Yeah. And Ten Hag said before the game, like, oh yeah, he keeps finding half spaces when playing at fullback, but like, it doesn't mean that he can play in tight spaces with back to goal in the final third, like, which a 10 would really need to do, or like play on the half turn. I really, really like Mazraoui, but like, that isn't his game, and it just looked like it looked like what he was, a defender playing in number 10. And he played a few times there for Ajax, but that was years ago.
It was all very odd because there were too many square pegs round holes in that team. I mean, you could have created more balance by playing him at fullback and either starting Casemiro in a double pivot and pushing Eriksen further forward where he does his best work, right?
Yeah. And then also it'd have been nice to come
into number 10. Ahmad suddenly seems to have been dropped. He started the season really well. I don't know. He looked at Erik Ten Hag the wrong way or something and now can't get a sniff of a game. I mean,
couldn't even get off the bench ahead of Anthony.
I know. Jesus Christ.
And obviously did get on eventually, but
I know. Ugarte was mentioned by Sofian Amrabat in the build-up to this game because he was asked about why he didn't sign for United, and Amrabat said, you need to ask Jason Wilcox. The manager wanted to keep me. Also, I'm paraphrasing. I may not got the quote quite right, but it was basically that. I was like, ooh, okay, well, a bit of insight. He went to Fenerbahce on a €2 million loan. Fiorentina, of course, charged us 10 million for the loan. Very odd. Very odd that Ten Hag wanted to keep him after barely playing him last season as well.
Yeah, and then he had a really good FA Cup final, and then do we want to keep him on that performance alone? I think also what would have been nice as well, like you mentioned Casemiro there, is if you play Ugarte and Casemiro together, it allows Casemiro to maybe play a little bit further forward as well and make those like runs, interchanging a little bit with Eriksen in front of him. And that would have been nice to see because I don't think those two have started together yet. And that's kind of what I thought that maybe Ugarte was signing to maybe allow Casemiro a little bit of freedom, but I don't know. I mean, it's impossible to get into the head of Ten Hag today. Like, what are you thinking playing Mazraoui as number 10? Like, it was, unless you got a pre-assist in the inside 15 minutes.
But I'm not basically pre-assist. Come on.
But basically, like, ran into the ball, played a nice little pass behind, but again, looking like a defender who just like stumbled.
I mean, I don't know. I half suspect it was a bad touch. Okay, well, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. All right, pre-assist, yeah.
But like, it it didn't make sense when we saw it on the team sheet. You're kind of half thinking, oh, I wonder if he's got something else up his sleeve. Then you see his interview and he's like, oh yeah, he's actually going to play number 10. And then you start to see it in the actual game. You're like, yeah, this doesn't make any sense. I didn't think it made any sense, and it doesn't make any sense. I don't understand his thinking at times. Like there's sometimes where I think like, oh yeah, he must have like a thought process about this weird decision here. But like that kind of like confirms all my fears about him in a lot of ways.
All right, so United get to halftime 1-0, and it was 1-0 at halftime, right? Yeah. 2 shots, 39% possession, all of that. The second half, like it changed a lot, but it wasn't chaos that we seem to have got in a lot of games where you're like, oh, this is half competent in the first half, and then it all goes to shit. It just slowed down. I mean, maybe it's like, apparently it's quite humid, and maybe the kind of intensity of the start, and it was quite intense. Maybe that took some of the energy out of the team, but everything really, really slowed down. And then, of course, El Nesri gets his standard goal against United. I like, how many errors were there? Dalot didn't get to the cross early enough to block the cross. Lindelof is watching ball, not man. And Martinez didn't tuck in time. I mean, I guess he's the least of the culprits in that situation. Lindelof kind of looked like it was his first game of the season, didn't it? In his attempt to mark the player coming on his blind side.
It was a great ball in from Sam Maximan. Something not accustomed to seeing actually from him, to be honest. And
it's such a strange player. I mean, he's fun to watch, but it mostly doesn't actually result in anything.
Yeah, he's a bit like a Adama Traore with a few more skills, isn't he? But when you have someone like El Nesiri in the middle, you have to get a body on him to stop him leaping, because he didn't even have to leave that high, because he didn't even get challenged by Lindelof or Martinez. Like, it's almost unforgivable that you will allow that type of striker, that type of header. Really, you like, both of them have to get closer. Like,
he's got form for this as well. Remember that goal he scored from Morocco in the World Cup?
Oh, so where he jumped like Air Jordan style into the air. Like the guy has a ridiculous leap on him. Like you have to get the body, like just to stop him running into that space, or at least challenging for the header with him. Like just to allow a free header basically on the 6-yard box. You potentially, if you're being really, really harsh, blame Onana. Maybe can he come out a little bit? But like the ball was so wicked and so good. I think it would be really, really harsh to do that. And it's just bad defending. I don't think he would have got that jump on De Ligt if De Ligt had been on that side, because I think, or even Maguire, to be fair.
No, probably not. I mean,
or if Martinez was in at centre back, I don't think he would have allowed it.
For it.
Yeah, or just put the body there to stop it, and Nesiri getting into that position in the first place. But Lindelof just kind of watched him. He's
always
just
been
bad.
A passive defender.
Yeah, it really has, and never great from crosses ever.
Yeah, De Ligt, I thought was good throughout. I mean, his sort of leadership and the quality of his box defending were not in doubt. I think he's growing into the Manchester United shirt. Obviously, things like getting a big gash on the head and refusing to go off. Paul Ince style, Terry Butcher, so on and so on, Steve Bruce. On and on, will endear him to fans. The weaknesses, I mean, his passing's fine. It's not that bad. The weakness with his pace it hasn't even really been tested that much. I think he's all right.
There was a moment today, I don't know if you remember seeing that in the first half when Sam Maximan tried to go past him and De Ligt just used his body and just stopped him doing it, and like almost matched him in because of that. Like that's the difference, isn't it? Like, whereas Maguire often gets exposed for his lack of pace. If you're intelligent enough and strong enough, you can kind of make up for that lack of pace by being a little bit smarter, having that 1 yard in your head, as they used to say about Teddy Sheringham.
Yeah, he definitely didn't have any yards on the pitch, did he, Sheringham? It was all in the head.
Yeah. Slow lad.
Yeah. What else? I'm trying to think. Rashford, he probably should have scored. I mean, it's a cutback from Dalot. It was a poor one, given how much space he was in.
So bad.
It's a really good chance, and Rashford looked pretty frustrated with that one. Garnacho, lots and lots and lots of running, and of course he was involved in United's goal. Nearly won a penalty, got taken out just right in the corner of the box in the second half. Some good stuff, a bit wasteful as well. We're waiting for the next leap in Garnacho, aren't we? I mean, he's clearly got really high seeing. I think he just needs to put it all together all the time.
Yeah, he looked really frustrated today, actually. There was a few times where he just didn't get the pass that he wanted. And he almost... It's weird with Garnacho. I think he almost needs a bit more like game intelligence, and maybe that will just come with a bit of experience, because he has all the tools, especially as a left winger. Like, he has the ability to go on the outside of them because he has that initial burst of pace and also a really good left foot to whip the ball back. And we've also seen really recently his ability to cut inside and like have a really like stinging shot, like Ronaldo-esque. It's just, we don't see that enough, and he squares that defender up a lot. Like, he gets that ball on the left and then like diagonally runs into that right back. And I feel like for him to be elite, to get to that next level, he has to kind of make that a danger every single time. And it feels like right now, it almost like if you were a fan in the stadium, you wouldn't do that thing where when Ronaldo had the ball in that position, then you'd immediately get off your seat, because it's almost like times where he just doesn't always run at that man. And it's like when Rashford was at his best, he always picked the ball up and just sprang at that defender and went either side. And Garnacho sometimes just, instead of doing that, making that decision every time, having the confidence to go at that defender, sometimes he just plays a simple pass into midfield.
Yeah,
and that
he's a ball carrier, not a ball. He doesn't complete a lot of take-ons. Garnacho,
and I think he has the ability to do it though. It's almost like, I don't know if that's fear, because it's not that he definitely has the ability to do that. I don't know if it's a fear or wanting to, or a kind of instruction to keep the ball. But like, he has that ability to, like I say, to go both sides and become more of a threat. And sometimes he's just a bit, almost a bit safe, I think, sometimes.
Yeah. On the other side, Rashford obviously put that ball in very early in the game, didn't come to much. And then he had that sort of run from right to left inside the fullback and the central defender, and shot just wide with his left foot. And then a long dribbly mazy run in the second half, wasn't able to get a good shot off. Like, there's bits there. I do not think on the right for him is the best solution. I actually think it's better for United with them the other way around, where Rashford's much more comfortable on the left, cutting in. Garnacho doesn't seem to impact him as much switching sides. Like, it's one of those Ten Hag experimentisms that he'll drop after a while, I think. I'd be surprised if we see Rashford there whole season anyway.
Yeah, he played there at the week. He played well there at the weekend, didn't he? And
he did, yeah.
There's just a strange lack of continuity at United and with Ten Hag as well. And,
there's none. There's none. It changes from game to game, half to half.
Yeah, and also, like, what we used to see all the time under Fergie days was, you used to see the winger swap in the same game. Don't ever see that. Like, we don't ever kind of see, and especially with the two of them, like, Rashford might be having a bad day on the right, Garnacho might be having a bad day on the left. And like, especially as there's not that much difference between them, really, there's a massive difference if Rashford plays on the left, not that much difference if Garnacho is playing on the right. Like, just give him a swap every now and again, especially if we're not seeing much joy. I don't see why we wouldn't do that. I feel like it has gone out of fashion a little bit in football, but I feel like with our guys, I don't see what we wouldn't gain from that. It's not like it's not like with City, where like they have their positions, and our boys are just all thrown all over the place.
Well, they're all relational, aren't they, to use the parlance of the day? But I fully agree. I think if only to relieve their own frustration and boredom, they could swap positions. But also, like, Fenerbahce had a makeshift left back in today. Like, try them with different solutions over time. It's not like they're having a lot of success down there. Was it leave United in the group? What have we got? We've got Rangers, Bodo Glimt, PAOK. Who else? A couple others. Steaua Bucharest.
Yeah, Steaua Bucharest is left.
One other whom I'm completely forgetting.
Porto. No, we played Porto.
No, played Porto. Don't remember our final game of this group. It's 8 games we play, right? Victoria Pleasant.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah. They are 5 winnable games. So maybe going to Greece will be tough.
I'm just looking at the group as well. Like, most of those teams are below us in the group.
Yeah.
And PAOK's away, isn't it?
Yeah, PAOK's away. We've got, I can't remember, Rangers away, is it? Or
Rangers
home?
It's
at
away.
home.
Okay. Right. And then
whatever. These are very, very winnable games. United should. I think I hear a lot of people say that 14 or 15 points. I guess that's an estimate based on like averages of points you'd expect from this kind of system or whatever. 14 or 15 points should be enough to qualify directly.
I don't think we're going to do that though.
So 4 wins out of those 5 would guarantee us qualification.
I almost can't see that. Like, just the way that we play in Europe, where we could have easily lost today. We could have. Well, we should have beaten Twente, and the Porto game, I guess, could have gone either way as well. But like, it's United in Europe. Like, you can't back us to win 4 out of the last 5. And even if we're playing like poor teams, like Victoria Plzen, like that, they finished 3rd in the Czech league last season. Like, PAOK got just bad. I think maybe finished like 3rd probably in the Greek league, and then Steaua Bucharest from Romania. Like, come on.
Yep. And then Rangers we beat in pre-season.
And Rangers are bad as well, aren't they? They're not. They're quite far off Celtic and and Aberdeen at the moment in the league. Like,
Fergie's old club. He was up there the other day, wasn't he?
That was interesting optics as well, to be honest. Like,
you fired me, therefore I'm not coming to watch United. I'm going to watch Aberdeen. That definitely got people talking. That one did. Mm. Yeah, look, United should qualify, but when's the last time we actually won away in Europe? I'm trying to remember it. It's we lost at Munich, we lost at Copenhagen, drew in Porto, drew this one. Who else did we have last season? So, yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, well, probably before I was doing the podcast, to be fair.
Last time we had some coherence to our play as well. Deary me.
Yeah.
So, I can't feel too negative about this because, like, if you just take it as a one-off and go, like, hey, we're going away to Turkey, Fenerbahce, 99 points last season, Jose is manager, a load of familiar names and great atmosphere and all of that kind of stuff. A draw's not horrendous. It's just in the sequence of things. As I said, 1 win in 7. I think I'm right in saying it's 1 win in 7. Particularly poor away record in Europe under to Ten Hag. That's not a good look, is it?
No, and Fenerbahce aren't also the team they were last season. Obviously, got a different manager and
8 points behind Galatasaray.
Mourinho's coming under pressure. Like, there's been problems with their temperament, obviously with Mourinho's temperament as well, and also like their tactical game, which isn't surprising because Mourinho has fallen behind in that regard. And I think, not that I watched the Turkish league last season, but I think when you see like them get 99 points and then hire Mourinho, you're thinking, yeah, you're going to go backwards, guys. you're not going to be able to get that from Mourinho anymore. Like,
poor old Jose. He really should have taken an international job. It feels like perfect. Like, I know, look, honestly, no disrespect to Turkish football, which is, I mean, there's more money in it now, and you cannot say there are any more passionate supporters anywhere in world football than Turkish fans, right? Great football culture, but it's not the highest standard. And you like, what does Mourinho hope to achieve? He doesn't need the money, and so he's just going to like a slow regression into irrelevance. It was probably time for an international job, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he's going to, like you say, he's moved to Turkey where it's of a lesser standard, and he's also going to get found out there, like by all accounts. Like if they don't achieve what they achieved last season, where they didn't actually win the league but still got 99 points, like, and they start as badly as they have and were really far off Galatasaray in the game that they played against them. Apparently, not that I watched it. Like, you could get sacked halfway through the season. Then where does he go? Like,
MLS. Next stop, MLS.
MLS, yeah. Or like you say, like international manager. Like the Saudi job became available today because Roberto Mancini was parted ways. So potentially that, like, is but like he's been great entertainment over the last few days as always. Like his interviews, his press conferences have been good fun, and then like his reaction to when Onana made those 2 saves was hilarious. And then you see him like patting him on the back. Like, he's great content. Like in 2024, he's great content. But like as a football manager, like he's just not the same as he was. Though, like he said the other day, like he still might get a Premier League title winners medal with United. So
I hope he does. That would be awesome. I did like him. Full fan service, perfect.
Yeah.
No, it's nice, very nice. That was. All right, shall we move on from this nonsense and talk about some more nonsense games, thick and fast, as always. I mean, there aren't any breaks, are there, until, international break in November, but right through till sort of the end of January when the European series finishes. So we've got West Ham on Sunday at London Stadium. Is it still called the London Stadium? They haven't banned the sponsor yet, have they?
I think so, yeah.
One of the worst stadiums in football, anyway.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah, really is.
So soulless.
I've never actually been there, and I'm still going to say it's the worst stadium in football because of like the sight lines and the big gaps in the stadium, because where they moved the movable parts of the stadium to cover the running track that's been used twice since the Olympics or something.
Yeah,
absolutely pointless.
I went for a gig there once, and that was fun, but. As a football stadium, it's not great. And West Ham are not great at the moment either.
No, they're dreadful. They're playing some really bad football, and you just kind of wonder what the point was. I mean, they've spent a lot of money and didn't sell Luis Paqueta, which they're probably regretting, or maybe everyone knew what was going on there and they wouldn't buy him. Yeah, City were apparently interested at one stage, and they're just playing kind of like prosaic football, and they got absolutely smashed at the weekend.
Yeah, I don't understand. West Ham are weird, aren't they? Their fans have always been this way, like wanting to play the West Ham way and getting really annoyed at Moyes for playing a certain type of football. And then what is the West Ham way?
When's the last time they played super great silky football? What, the 1960s?
I think so, yeah, when they won the World Cup for England. Like Moyes won you a trophy as well. Like Moyes came in, won you a European trophy, and then
they're like, "I'm saying good enough. We're West Ham. We want to see beautiful football every week." Fuck off!
No, like, what are you talking about? You think back to like the West Ham that I've known throughout my whole life. Like they've been a yo-yo team, like a lot of years in like the Division 1 or the Championship, like. And then even when they weren't a yo-yo team, they had Big Sam as their manager at times, and then that Kevin Nolan and Andy Carroll 1-2 punch. Like that, they've Alan Pardew as their manager for a little bit. Like the whole time I've been alive, they've never played attractive football. So
no.
I don't understand.
Or ever achieve. The worst thing you can do as a mid-ranked club is do something. Like win something or have a successful season, because it massively inflates fan expectations, and then everyone wants you fired. Like look at Ranieri, won the title with Leicester, And they gave him like 3 minutes to celebrate, and then they fired him.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And like, it won't be long until like genuinely some fans of West Ham, if they're because of how bad the bottom three are this season, they're quite a bit above the relegation zone already. But you think if they get to Christmas and they're still playing as badly as this and rarely picking up points, like there will be fans out there like wanting Moyes back. And would that be his third stint? I'm pretty sure he's had 2, hasn't he? And
he should just bounce between Everton and West Ham for the rest of his career. And
well, yeah, I mean,
maybe he'd manage them both at the same time.
Everton will probably be wanting him as well soon enough, probably. Like, obviously, I'm not the biggest Moyes fan. He wasn't great at United, obviously, and it was just a bit of a clown show, and he'd been super arrogant and weird ever since about it. But like, what he did for West Ham, like, I feel like he's their best manager of the last 30, 40 years, and they just binned him off because this weird, like, what is Lopetegui anyway? Like, it's not like he was great at Wolves. Like, he got sacked as Real Madrid manager after a week. He got sacked as Spain manager before literally before a major tournament. And yeah, he did all right. What, Sevilla? Like,
it's a while back now.
Long time
there
ago.
was a West Ham fan, one of the big West Ham fan channels on Twitter announced Lopetegui's firing at the weekend, and for a second I believed it, and then I was like, no, well, hang on a minute, this can't be right. But it could be. Anyway, so obviously after all of that trashing West Ham for how bad they are and how bad they're playing at the moment, they're clearly going to beat us the weekend.
They're going to beat us. Mikel Antonio somehow found himself back in the team.
He's like the Black Knight, isn't he, Mikel Antonio?
Exactly, yeah.
It's just like his legs falling off all over the place, and he'll still absolutely bully Victor Lindelof.
Yeah. Still just barreling it balls into the net every single time. And they've seemed to have, like, obviously he kind of went in with his promise that he'd play like better football, but like you say, it's prosaic football, and it's very similar to what we saw under Moyes. And like the biggest example of that is literally Mikel Antonio still being in the team and still kind of playing the same role that he was before. So like, there's not that much in terms of like what to expect this week, and there's not too much different to what we usually expect. And I imagine they'll probably sit in a little bit and then try and break on the counter attack with Bowen and Bowen and Antonio. And Kudus as well. Kudus is a really, really good player. I
like him, yeah. The output's not huge, but it's definitely, this is trite and unfair and well repeated and not an original thought, but half the price of Anthony. Yeah. Come on. I just feel like repeating that every time we play West Ham because,
And it always makes me think as well of like, what is Ten Hag thinking? Does this man know about football?
No. Yeah, I mean, clearly he does know about football. He knows more than you or I know about football.
Oh, he does, but
it's not translating to much on the pitch.
Kudus, Mazraoui, number 10. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, United beat bad teams. That's the pattern, isn't it? Under Ten Hag, we beat the bad teams and we struggle against the mid-ranked teams. Sometimes beat them, sometimes don't, and then we'll use to a good team. So that appears to be it. And our ceiling is very much capped at just outside the top places as a result of it. I mean, Ten Hag, I was going to say badly needs a win, but he doesn't appear to be under any pressure. I mean, there was no leaks from the Ineos crew saying, he's about to be sacked. Various Guardian journalists weren't tweeting that he's definitely gone in this recent international break, which, he's definitely safe.
We're just in this weird kind of plodding phase, aren't we? This weird kind of purgatory where we're all kind of waiting for him to go. And just like, there's a tiny 5% of us that's kind of like, oh, maybe he'll get better. Maybe he'll do an Arteta and everything will turn around very, very soon. But like, there's just, as we keep seeing every single week or twice a week, like, there's no signs of any long-lasting proof that things will get better. Like, we saw a really good second half performance on Sunday against Brentford, and then we saw an okay performance tonight, but like it didn't fit any type of pattern. There wasn't any continuation from what we saw at the weekend. It was just kind of this weird malaise again that we keep seeing every week. We could have lost tonight. We could have won tonight. Like we could have lost at the weekend. We did win at the weekend. Like every game's like one goal here, one goal there. It was in the first season under Ten Hag. It was last season under Ten Hag. It is this season under Ten Hag. It's just all the same. It's just all this weird, chaotic or malaise, and it's just like I say, we feel like we're just in purgatory, waiting for the inevitable to happen.
Yeah, reports during the week that United met with Xavi or Xavi's representatives to talk to him. I mean, I would be shocked if United aren't talking to every possible manager, whether it's through representatives or directly. I mean, it did in the summer and they didn't seem to want to keep it secret until obviously some of those options have now gone off to other jobs. Xavi is out of a job. I don't know if he's a good coach or not, really. I mean, Barcelona weren't very good under him, but then again, the chaos at the club was at its extreme. But yeah, you dump Hansi Flick into a still chaotic club and they look pretty bloody good, don't they?
They look really good, yeah. He did win a league title there.
Yeah.
In this last year.
True. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I guess my judgment of him was clouded by how it ended. But Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure they're keeping tabs on every possible manager and trying to convince, whether it's Hermes or Xabi Alonso or maybe Xavi. Seems unlikely, that one. But whoever they think has the right kind of game model for them, and they'll be thinking about that come the summer.
This is the thing there, isn't it? Like, most of the Ten Hagers will hit you with this accusation. Well, who do you get in then? And it's a really, really fair question because, like you say, like Xavi has his many cons. Everyone has many cons that we think of. Even like, oh, we missed out on Thomas Tuchel. Some might say, nah, he had too many issues for us to get him. Like, you looked at every candidate really, and there's big gaps in the CV. So it's like it's a really difficult position that Ineos are in, I think.
It is. Or you start to think about it the other way around. Would it be worse?
Yeah, that's true.
Really, I mean, we are, let's just remind ourselves, 21st in the Europa League group phase standings.
Level on points with Poulsen, Elfsborg and Ferencváros.
Yeah, we did, to be fair to Erik, and I don't want to shit on him too much, we did briefly make it into the top half of the table at the weekend for about an hour or so. It was good while it lasted, but yeah, now back to 11th. So yeah, I mean, seriously, could it be worse?
No.
I don't know. We have 18 months.
It'd just be nice to see
evidence.
A little bit of progress. It'd be nice to see a little bit of pattern.
I don't think we ever will. We're never going to see a pattern because there is no one game model that he's attached to. He changes it from week to week, and especially when he's under pressure, he'll come out with some specific thing to try and get a result in a game. But you never feel, even if United won tonight, it'd just be details, right? It wouldn't. Yeah. It was not a pattern or a strategy that he's trying to create. There's no light at the end of the tunnel because there is no one tunnel. We just go from one tunnel to the next one. I'm stretching this analogy here, but there's no thing we're aiming for. There's no North Star. There's no end point. Mm-hmm. It's just game to game to game. And fine, like if you're going to do that, results matter. They always matter, but they absolutely matter if you're like playing the real politique of football, which Erik is, and his results are just not very good. So, yeah. Joy. All right. I think that's it for the midweek pod. I'm going to out saves. You got any missed out anything? No.
I think that's
all right.
Oh, good.
West Ham at the weekend. Best of luck, Reds. There will be many United fans there enjoying the view of the pitch a good 50 yards away to the nearest goal. Fucking awful stadium. Tottenham have got to, I know it cost them £1 billion, but they've got to be delighted they didn't win that process to get that stadium. I mean, they'd have been away from their fan base. It's not like North East London to East London is actually that easy to, easy to get around. in a shit stadium. So, and now the club is, even with that debt, much more valuable. So, yeah, there you go. Good luck, Reds. Thank you, everybody, for listening. You can check us out on YouTube if you're not already watching it there. Patreon.com/NQATpod if you want to get our Backers show. You can also find the Backers show on Apple Podcasts and the Apple Podcast feed. And I think it's now on Spotify as well. Tell me if it isn't. I tried to hook it up there since ever now. And now allowed that to be synced. We'll see. Thanks, everyone. Bye now.